Hello, I'm Anthony Hobbs, and there's a limit on this thing. I can only do about 10 minutes, so I better get to the point. The point is, I'm Anthony Hobbs, already said that, and I'm doing a review on The Terminator. The first Terminator film, which is simply called The Terminator. And, because it's 30 years old, so I thought I should say something. And also, I read a rumour in a magazine there might be a Terminator 5, but it's just a rumour, I don't know. And even if it does come to pass, it'll be in about a year. Which is a shame, because that won't be the 30th anniversary. Well, it'll be the more or less 30th anniversary. Anyway, I would highly recommend, if anyone hasn't seen it, if you want to see Terminator films, see the first one first, because it perfectly explains what it's all about. It's a good introduction to the franchise, you know. The first time I saw the Terminator film, I saw it on TV, and I'd missed the very beginning, when we see, shots of the future in the year 2029, Los Angeles, all that. 2029 isn't that far in the future now, but it was when the film was made. Anyway, no, the bit I saw it up to was when Arnold Schwarzenegger's walking around in the middle of the night, naked, and kills some punkers with his bare hands, because he needs to get some clothes. And then when we see Kyle Reese, also naked, very strange if you don't know what it's all about, and they both look in a phone book for the name Sarah Connor. Now, this is what I thought. I assumed they were both random phone book killers, because I knew very little about the Terminator movie. I was just told it was about this super cool robot. And so when I think robots, I think R2-D2, C-3PO, or Number Johnny 5. The idea of a robot looking realistically human, I was unfamiliar with that concept. I've seen it many times since then, but it was brand new at the time for me. And so I just thought when the Terminator attacks people and just kills people at random, I just thought he was a violent nutcase, I thought the way he talked was a bit strange, like he's a bit mentally disturbed, and the way he doesn't express emotions like a normal person would. But I just thought that's because he's mad, he's psychotic, he's sick in the head, It never occurred to me that he could be a robot, or cyborg. Some say he's not a robot, he's a cyborg. And Kyle Reese, I thought he wanted to kill Sarah Connor as well, looking her up in the phone book, He doesn't kill anyone when he's looking for her, but I just thought, well, he's a slightly less violent killer than the other one, I don't know. And I remember thinking, this is a terrible movie. It's just about a madman that goes around killing people for no reason. Why is this a hit? Why is this so successful, So, as you may have gathered, it took me a while to warm to it, But then finally, when Sarah Connor's in Tech Noir, the nightclub, and she thinks she's perfectly safe. She isn't, Then both Arnie and Kyle Reese confront her, if you like. And I thought, well, they're just going to argue about who gets to kill her first. I thought they were both there to kill her. But no. Kyle Reese fires that shotgun that he's modified, and it knocks the Terminator to the ground, temporarily, and then says that famous line to Sarah, "Come with me if you want to live." So then it's made clear he has no intention of killing it, he wants to protect her. So I thought, okay, I'll go with it. So I was wrong thinking that before. And then when they're in the car chase bit, he explains what it's all about, that it's a killer robot from the future. And my reaction was, oh please, that's totally unbelievable. They can't make things like that yet. Not yet, says Kyle Reese. No, not for about 40 or 50 years or something. Yes, that's absolutely right. And then suddenly, when he says the robot's from the future, it became totally believable. Okay, not totally believable, but it's a bit like when I first got into Star Trek. The first time I ever saw a film, I saw it from the second half or something, I thought this is totally unbelievable. You can't make spaceships that travel the speed of light. And then someone told me it's set in the future. Not now, it's set in the future. So that element made it a bit more believable. And in the same way, the Terminator, because he's a creature or robot from the future, that made it a bit more believable. And also, I thought it was clever how Sarah Connor is in denial. Like, this can't be true, And the police try and rationalise it for her. The reason he could survive gunshots is because he must have been wearing body armour, and all stuff like that. But when we, the viewer, see the Terminator repairing himself, he's repairing all the wires and circuits in his body, there's no point being in denial anymore. It's for real. It's really happening, But that's another element that made it a bit more believable. The way that the plot slowly unfolds and reveals you into it, you know. So yes, it's very clever. And also, apparently James Cameron, he wanted to make like the definitive robot movie, which he did. And he wanted the movie to be set in the future, like a really futuristic, post-apocalyptic world. But the budget was too small, so they just couldn't afford that. It'd be too expensive. So what happened was they thought, okay, don't make it in the future, make it set in the past. And in a way, that was a blessing in disguise, because that's what made it look unique. It had a totally unique look to it. And that is what makes the Terminator more frightening, you know, because present-day technology can't hurt him. So nothing can stop him. He's totally invincible, you know. He is a real threat. And at one point in the movie, Kyle Reese says, I don't know if I can stop it. With these primitive weapons, I really don't know if it's possible or not, you know. And I thought that was quite a clever twist. It turned out Kyle Reese was destined to be John Connor's father all along. But it's sort of a bit strange, because if the war never happened, how did he originally become John Connor's father? Did he go backwards in time for a different reason? Or I don't know, it's a bit strange, you know, it's one of those time travel things that messes with your head a bit, yeah. And apparently, there were some deleted scenes in the Terminator, and there was one where Sarah Connor actually says, why don't we destroy the Cyberdyne system so that Skynet never gets to be built, then the war will never happen. But if they had done that, it would have been... That's a good idea for a sequel, but it would have been overkill for the first movie. It's too much to take in one movie. So I'm glad they deleted that scene and saved it for a possible sequel. And I thought it was clever how the Terminator, he keeps coming back to life. Several times they think they've killed him, but he keeps coming back to life. And when all his skin has been burned in that massive fire, he rises from the ashes, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Yes, there's no stopping him. He's totally, you know, invincible. Or he will never give up, because he's a robot, has no concept of giving up. And then they kill him again, or they think they've killed him, they've blown half his body off. And then his robot body with just like 1.5 arms sort of moves, trying to kill Sarah, you know. That was very creepy when I saw that. Because... it was brand new that before I saw Terminator, hang on, the second's moving all right? Yes, there. Okay, just a little technical check. When I first saw the Terminator, before I'd seen it, whenever I thought robots, I thought they're very humble. They're like servants, like yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir. You know, they do anything you tell them, because that's what they're programmed to do. They're programmed to be your servant. So the idea of a robot turning against you, that is quite scary the first time you ever see it. Yeah. The idea of your creation turning against you, that is quite creepy, you know. But that message was perfectly delivered in the Terminator, yeah. And they eventually do kill it, but then afterwards, of course, Sarah doesn't. She still doesn't feel on guard, she's not satisfied, and travels everywhere in Mexico with a dog. Because, of course, dogs can tell the difference between a human and a cyborg, you know, by the smell. Where humans can't tell the difference. And, yes, I thought Terminator was very original. I thought it was very entertaining, a bit too violent. But I have seen much more violent films since then, but it was very violent for the time. And I think there are a lot of themes and issues in the Terminator, but for me the main one is, one day in the future, we'll be so dependent on technology that if it ever turns against us, we will be helpless. So... Always build a good off switch. I suppose that's the answer. If a machine gets intelligent, always be able to turn it off. And even if there's backup systems and all that, just make sure the damn thing's turned off, so that if it ever does turn against you, you can stop it. Yeah. And oh yeah, a bit of trivia here. I'll say in Battlestar Galactica, in the original, the Cylons are a race of alien beings, but their own technology has become so advanced it's taken over them. Robots have replaced the aliens as the dominant species. But in the remake of Battlestar Galactica, they changed that twist and said no, the Cylon robots were created by humans. And I didn't like that. That's the same idea as Terminator. That's unoriginal, so it's silly. Yeah, be it as original as you possibly can be. Yeah, and well, which is the best Terminator film? I suppose they're good just in different ways, yeah. And when I first heard there was going to be a sequel, I thought, no, we're not having this. How could there possibly be a sequel? You know, the first one was the best. But I was wrong. Like, the second one was even better. It topped, you know, because I thought they'd used up all their best ideas in the first one, but I like the second one better. But I'd highly recommend seeing the first one first because it explains, you know, what it's all about. You know, it's good introduction. You know, and okay, what's left to say about the Terminator? Oh yes, a little bit of philosophy. It's made very clear that the humans are the goodies in the Terminator, well, in all the Terminator films, but and that the machines are baddies. But who has the right to rule planet Earth? Well, you could say the most intelligent have the right to rule. So therefore, the machines are more intelligent than they have the right to rule. But are they more intelligent? It depends how you define more intelligent, because the machines, all controlled by the Skynet computer, have a perfectly logical mind, a logical way of thinking, but they don't have common sense. They only can do what they're programmed to do, nothing more. So humans have common sense. So how do you rule? Do you rule with logical thinking or common sense? I think the simple answer is both. You need a mixture of both in order to survive. Yeah. So and it's never specified how the Skynet computer becomes self-aware. You know, was it a malfunction? Was it a technician's fault? How did it happen? How did the Skynet computer become self-aware? Well, how does anything become self-aware? Yeah, you could say, how did the first living things on the planet become self-aware? You know, everything was originally machine, but then somehow consciousness kicked in. You know, and yeah, it is a scary thought, technology turning against you. Yeah, but I think the message was shown, and it's not all doom and gloom. It is about a post-apocalyptic world, but at the same time, it's shown in a very entertaining and clever way. Okay, and also the Terminator is the sort of movie you need to see several times, because when Kyle Reese has that photograph of Sarah Connor, you don't know the significance of that until after you've seen it was taken in the future. Yeah, so for some of the bits to make more sense, you need to see it several times. And there's one bit which you think isn't relevant, but it is relevant when you think about it. When Kyle Reese is in the car, he hasn't met Sarah Connor at this point. No, he's in a car listening to the radio, and on the radio there's an advertisement for like the latest technology, the latest CD players and laser discs, which we now call DVDs, but they had laser discs back then. And it's basically, the advert is the excitement of brand new technology. You've got to have the latest one. The latest state-of-the-art computer, the latest state-of-the-art television, the latest music sound system, all that. You've got to have the latest kind. So the excitement of making technology more and more advanced, it's got to be as advanced as possible. But not thinking there is a danger of making technology too advanced. If it gets too intelligent, it could turn against you. But these people that invent machines, they don't think that far ahead, no. So in other words, don't get too excited about technology getting more advanced, because if you do that, you'll be oblivious to the consequences, or possible consequences. Okay, with that philosophical thought, The Terminator is a great movie. And if you haven't seen it yet, and if you're over 18, watch it now. Okay, take care.